We know all too well the damage the Florida sun can do to our skin. So now that summer is wrapping up, it's a good time to go to the doctor to get a skin check. Dr. Robert Finkelstein from the Center for Skin Wellness is here to tell us exactly what skin checks entail. Welcome.
Thank you.
Help everybody understand, because it sounds like such a, oh, you know, my skin looks fine kind of thing. Why is a yearly skin check so important?
Well, first of all, the skin's like the easiest thing to check. We just look. There's no instruments. We can get you disrobed, get you in your birthday suit, and look you head to toe. And the reason is most people think, and rightly, that the sun can cause skin cancer, and it does, but there's also moles that the sun doesn't affect. That you can get where the sun doesn't shine. So it's good to get a head to toe, and a yearly, just especially down in Florida, just because you can develop lesions that you didn't have before and that you didn't realize that you had. And you want to catch them early. If you catch them early, they're treatable and curable. If you don't, then they could be a problem.
Then you get some problems. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that it isn't just the sun. Sometimes you're just predisposed, or sometimes things just happen. So let's talk about when you are looking at skin, what are you looking for?
Right, so when we're looking at moles especially, we look at the A, B, C, D, and E. A is asymmetry, so we want the lesion to be nice and round and regular. We want, if you split a line down the middle, you want them to be equal
Two
halves.
sides to look the same.
Correct.
Okay.
You also want the borders to be very distinct. You don't want them to be fuzzy or scalloped. So if you see a mole that's starting to change and become fuzzy, that's one thing to check. The color you want to be nice and uniform, like a nice uniform brown. You don't want it to be what we call variegated. You don't want to have black or red, brown. You want it to be a nice same color. Right, one color. D is diameter. The size is about the size of a pencil eraser, about 5 millimeters. If it starts getting bigger than that, that's rule of thumb. If you're born with them, it can be bigger, but generally the size of a pencil eraser or less. E is evolve. So if you've had one that's changing, that's one to be look closely about.
And Linda, I'd like you to share your story for any of our viewers that haven't heard it, just because I think it was a big wake-up call. How did you find that you had a problem?
Well, I'd never been checked in my whole life. I was getting Botox, and the doctor said, oh, this looks strange here. Now, I thought it was a swollen pore. That's what I thought it was. It turned out to be a basal cell carcinoma that took this whole side of my nose, and I had to have plastic surgery on it. Then I thought maybe I ought to get checked. And there was another one on my leg.
Right.
Oh, wow.
I would have never been checked if it hadn't been for that.
Right, and that's why we like to preach like getting annual checkups. I mean, most people think, well, you know, first of all, they think because it doesn't hurt, that there's no pain involved, that it's got to be okay. It's not bleeding, it's just kind of there, it's got to be okay. But basal cell carcinomas and sometimes squamous cell carcinomas, they can be very innocuous and they don't really look like much, but they can be something. And the other problem is it's not necessarily what you see is what you get. They can go underneath and start to spread, and you don't realize it. So that's why it's important. It's just like you would get any annual exam, your pap smear, your mammogram, for men to get their prostate checks. It's important to get your skin checked. It's so easy, just get your clothes off.
And
I am going to do that from now on, I promise you.
You have a couple events coming up at the Center for Skin Wellness, so we want to give everybody a heads up to. And one of them involves skin cancer, and one of them involves cosmetic. Tell us what we're looking at.
Right, so October 25th, we're just doing a free cosmetic consultation with Monica. She's our medical esthetician, and she's a medical esthetician. She works with me, so she knows what to look for if she's doing facials, and she does microdermabrasion and microneedling. But she can also find if there are people that have lesions that she can refer to me, and we have a nice little relationship, so we can play off of each other, and that's why it's good to go to like a medical esthetician, just because they have a little bit more knowledge.
Right, you're getting a little medical interest and advice at the same time.
When somebody sticks a needle in my face, I want them to know what's down under.
That's a good thing.
You want to know the anatomy.
And then also coming up on the 27th, something very, very important to everybody, there are some skin cancer checks available. How will that work?
Yeah, we'll be doing free skin cancer screenings just to get people out and motivated to look at their skin. We're educational, just to talk about what I'm talking about and just do like some screenings and check for melanomas and basal cell carcinomas and pre-cancers, which are probably the most common things.
Because if caught early, it is so treatable, but like
Absolutely.
everything else, catching it early is the key. All right, thank you, doctor. A lot of
Thank
great
you.
interest and advice here. You can, of course, follow up with all the details about the consultations and the free screenings by going to their website, centerforskinwellness.com. All right, coming up next, we're going to preview the Players Center's latest show, and it also is about a medical treatment of a different sort.